Time to embrace debate in the locker room. Top 24 players before training camp begins in 24 days. See what I did there? Let's see.
Hey, locker room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too. Landlocked, got the game in the headlock. Localize every time, can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top two and we not too. Plugged in daily digital on YouTube. We got taste for days, opinions to give, we got takeaways. If it's up.
Welcome to the locker room, number one source for Texans digital content. I'm Landry Locker. You can see me right here. You can hear me right here. Camp is about to begin. We are 24 days away, and it's time to embrace debate. A lot of people kind of lost. They don't know what to talk about. There's plenty to talk about when it comes to the Texans, plenty to talk about when it comes to the AFC South, and there's plenty to be excited about. We're going to get into the top 24 players in the AFC South before camp begins. I want y'all to give your input as always. Be sure to subscribe, like, right along as well. And right off the top, one of the guys that's been in the news for a while, definitely not a slow news day, maybe slow-ish, but one of the guys that is a fan favorite around here, Tank Dell. We start with Tank Dell. Number 24 on the list is Tank Dell. Now, if he would have played a full season last year, there's a pretty decent chance that Tank Dell is a little bit higher up on this list. But when you only play a little over half the season and you end up getting hurt, you only play 11 games, 47 catches, 709 yards, 7 touchdowns last year. You're not going to be as high up on the list, no matter how much of a fan favorite you are. By the way, before we hear from Tank Dell and hear what he's got to say, these rankings, they're based on recent production and projections and whatever the hell goes on inside my head, which is a very dangerous place, as most of you know. So I factor in what happened last year. Sometimes it's about giving players some respect, and sometimes it's about projections where you think maybe guys will elevate their game. Let's hear from Tank Dell, just everything that he's gone through, getting shot in the offseason, getting injured, having to recover. Let's hear about where Tank Dell is when it comes to the mentals.
Oh, I'm good. I go to church every Tuesday. I pray every night, pray every morning. I know I got God on my side, and that's the most powerful thing to have. I got God on my side, keep him first in everything I do. So I feel good. I got the right group of guys around me, keeping my head up, my mom, my pops, people back home, like my grandmother, everybody praying for me and just calling me, checking in every day now. Like, they just call. My grandma texts me every day now. Like, it's crazy, but it's like, it's good. I'm good. My mental's right, and I'm just ready to get back to work. Ready.
A lot of people are ready to see him work. Tank Dell going to be really interesting. I've talked about this, and I really don't know where you can or can't get Tank Dell in fantasy. I think it's going to be really, really tough. Really, really, really tough to figure that out. What's up? Good to see you, my friend. H-Town's Ultimate. Tyler Olson in the building. Tank Dell will be the unquestioned number one on this squad by the end of the season. If that happens, then he's going to be further up on this list. But we'll see. Right now, he's at 24. Someone says sponsored by Dell Computers. That's it's very creative. I see what you did there. Number 23 on this list. I think this guy is really, really, really underrated. And I think he's getting to the point where he's been solid, but I think heading into this next season, I think we might end up seeing his best football. And quite frankly, if you watch the Texans play Jacksonville the last few years, it does seem like there's a tendency for this guy to make plays at the right times and kind of flash in certain places. So number 23 on the list is going to be Devin Lloyd, the linebacker out of Jacksonville. I for some reason have always liked him. I actually wouldn't have minded the Texans getting him a couple of years ago. I like Devin Lloyd. I'm kind of a Devin Lloyd-ish fan. So Devin Lloyd is on this list. Some might say that's a little bit too high, a little bit generous. There's some other good linebackers. But I'm going to go ahead and put Devin Lloyd up there at 23. I actually think Jacksonville has some pretty underrated linebackers for sure. I think the division actually has some pretty good linebackers as well, which brings us to number 22. No, the 22nd best player, Zaire Franklin. Zaire Franklin was second in the NFL last year in tackles. There's actually in the AFC South, there are 3 guys that were in the top 5 in tackles last year. Franklin's one of them, Azeez Al-Shaair, and someone else who we'll get to in a second. But number 22 on the list of best players in the AFC South is going to be Zaire Franklin. Not even going to put him up there because I've seen enough of his face and heard enough of him for sure. So I'll put him there, Zaire Franklin, right there. Next player, number 21, respect to him. I think he's a little bit cooked. I don't think he's completely washed. We know him very well around here. DeAndre Hopkins. He's going to be number 21. DeAndre Hopkins, spoiler alert, he's the only Tennessee Titans wide receiver on here. So if you're expecting to see Calvin Ridley, go to your local casino or something like that. I think Calvin Ridley's best ball is behind him. I think he's kind of going to fall off after getting paid. I saw him at his press conference. He said, I'm 30, but I'm actually 25 or something like that. I don't know what that means. I think that was a big overpay by the Tennessee Titans. I think they kind of got off to taking him away from the Jags. Number 21 is going to be Nuke Hopkins. So we'll set Nuke Hopkins there. Nuke Hopkins is at 21. Next player on the list, and I think this is a guy who's one of the more underrated players in the league. We'll start with Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon's going to be number 20. We get to number 19. I want to give this guy some love. But number 20 is going to be Joe Mixon. Let's hear Joe Mixon talking about how he's going to work in this system.
In terms of, the point of attack with a lot of things, all of that stuff starts right now and what we build in the OTAs. And, obviously it's only going to get better.
That's Joe Mixon, pretty excited. He had a really good press conference, actually, when he was introduced. Joe Mixon, number 20. Number 19. This is a guy who you might not really talk about very much. I always mess up the name, but Foye Oluokun. He's actually led the league in solo tackles the last 2 seasons, and he led the league in combo tackles in 2021 and 2022. Went to high school with Zeke Elliott, kind of all over the place. Not really someone that you talk about. This is a little bit more about just giving a guy his appropriate respect, because I don't think he gets enough respect around the league. So I'll give FO. We'll go the easy nickname route. I'll put FO there at 19. So right now we have Tank Dell 24, Devin Lloyd 23, Zaire Franklin 22, Nuke Hopkins 21, Mixon at 20, 8th in the league in rushing last year, and then FO at 19. Number 18, this might be a little bit generous. I don't know if this is too high or too low for him. One of the highest paid players in the history of the league, Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence, number 18. I can already see Jags fans saying you're being a hater. Am I really? You throw 21 touchdowns, 14 interceptions last year. I know you showed a lot of toughness. Like, where am I supposed to put Trevor Lawrence? The problem with Trevor Lawrence is not necessarily his ceiling. Like, when he's in rhythm and he's playing well, he looks pretty good, but his floor is so bad to where any given Sunday, Trevor Lawrence can be one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL I got to put Trevor Lawrence here, it might actually be a little bit too generous, to be honest with you, putting Trevor Lawrence at 18. Maybe that's appropriate. I don't know. Some will say maybe there's not 17 players better than Trevor Lawrence. I don't even think he's the best player in his draft class. I don't even think he's the best player that came from the college he came from in the AFC South. So I'll put Trevor Lawrence at 18. Is it too harsh? Is it too generous? I don't know. But Trevor Lawrence on this list, damn it, embrace debate. He's at number 18. Number 17. I'm higher on this guy than a lot of people are. I know this is almost a sin around here. I like Michael Pittman Jr. out of Indianapolis. And I just believe that if he finds a consistent quarterback, I think Michael Pittman Jr. can produce. Now, that might be easier said than done. I know they gave him the contract this offseason. You look at the numbers, it's not overly impressive, but if around here we're going to talk about Nico Collins and there's going to be talk about, well, he's never really had a quarterback. Every other year, Michael Pittman has a different quarterback. And there's probably some, much like there was with Nico Collins and Davis Mills, there's probably some meat left on the bone. I'm a Michael Pittman fan, so I'm going to go ahead and put Michael Pittman number 17. Pedro says Trevor Lawrence not even the best player on the Jets. He's not even the best player from his college in his draft class. Let's be serious. There are plenty of Jags. Jags actually, when you do this exercise, they actually got a decent bit of talent. But yes, I think Pittman's cold too. I'm with you on that. Number 18 and making $55 million is crazy. No doubt, for sure. Let's go to number 16. Let me know what I've done wrong here, where I've missed out. Now, this guy, man, this is one of the best damn players in the entire NFL. Like, this guy is, I think, when it comes to game wreckers and it comes to guys that can change a game and guys who could end up, this guy could end up winning the defensive rookie of the year this year. And I think, and it would not shock me. He could end up playing in the Super Bowl, quite honestly. I'm talking about, oh, my bad. That's Aiden Hutchinson. That's who the Jags should have taken with the number 1 pick a couple of years ago. My bad. My bad, Jags fans. My bad. I didn't mean to get anyone in the AFC South too hyped up. My bad. A guy who actually had a pretty good season. Let's go with Travon Walker. Doesn't seem too amused by the joke. We'll go with Travon Walker. My bad. I said I was talking about the guy that actually was the best player in that draft that went number 2 in the draft and is a big reason why the Lions are so good. Travon Walker, he will be number 16. Aiden Hutchinson probably would have been number 1. Probably would have been ahead CJ Stroud, if we're being honest. Probably would have gone the Michigan guy over the Ohio State guy. Assuming that CJ Stroud is number 1, I think it's a safe assumption to make. But Travon Walker, 10 sacks last year, actually. Decent job by him. Man, if the Jags would have taken, who knows how different things would look with the Jags if they'd taken Aiden Hutchinson. They probably win the division last year, honestly, if we're being honest with ourselves. Don't know if they even re-signed Josh Allen, who we'll see a little later on in this list. But Travon Walker, he's putting together a nice little stretch. Travon Walker, yeah, okay, we'll put him right there at 16. Number 15, I think this guy deserves his flowers, and I think this might blow your mind because I'm sure that most of you're football fans, so you know that this guy had a good year, but when you put this up there, this guy is an absolute dog. I'm a dog, I'm a dog, I'm a dog, I'm a dog. All right, so could I interest you in a stat? Okay. Last year, there were only 3 guys in the entire NFL that had more catches than this guy. CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Tyreek Hill. They were the only guys in the league that had more catches than this guy. Evan Ingram, of the Jacksonville Jaguars. 114 catches last year, 963 yards. Let me say that again. CeeDee Lamb, St. Brown, Tyreek Hill had more receptions than Ingram in 2023. That is absolutely insane. Do I think he's a top 15 player? Do I think he's going to produce like this? Look, I don't know. But all I know is this. When you have a season like that and it kind of goes under the radar, you got to give the guy some flowers and you got to give him some respect. That is absolutely insane. Like I'm looking at it again just because I can't believe it. But just look at it right here. Stats last year. CeeDee Lamb, 135, 119, 114. Evan Ingram, props to you, my friend. That is a hell of a season for him. So I'm going to put him up there. And you might make a case that he might be able to duplicate that because they lost Calvin Ridley. But that's crazy for sure. I'll give Ingram that credit. Brandon says, this is perfect. This is kind of an alley-oop. You kind of lobbed it up to me. I'm going to yam it. Speaking of the draft, I was having the Stingley versus Sauce argument again tonight. What are you still saying Stingley's better and Sauce and all that? Stingley hadn't been able to stay healthy, which is why on this list, he's number 14. Number 14, 14th best player in the AFC South, little Derek Stingley action. Look, when he's on the field, he's elite. He hasn't been able to stay on the field. I mean, even last year, he missed over a month. So we haven't seen it in damn near half a decade. So if you're going to be elite, but you're going to still miss like a third of the season, it's hard to climb up this list. So I got to put Derek Stingley at 14. I'm intrigued to see what he does this year, but until further notice, got to put him at 14. Sorry, got to be there. 14. So we put Derek Stingley at number 14. There, my mind's blown by that Ingram stat too. 114 catches, man. I didn't know it was like that. Number 13, another guy from Clemson to Jacksonville, Travis Etienne, damn good back. There's some weeks where he's going to go for 125, and there's others where he's going to go for like 55. Anyone who's had him in fantasy knows this, but he's a really good back. Last year, kind of we're wondering if, his production was going to fall off because they took Tank out of Auburn. Did not fall off. Travis Etienne, the best player on the Jags from Clemson and the best player from Trevor Lawrence's draft class. So let's put Travis E at 13. For sure. I like him. I think he's good. I think he's a good player. For sure. I think he's a really good player. Yeah. It seems like his brother was in college forever. Number 12 and 11, we have two Texans receivers. Okay. We have two Texans receivers. What order do you think they should go in? And do you think this is disrespectful? What order do you think these guys should go in? It's Nico and it's Stephon Diggs. Who should be first? Who are we going with? We going with Nico? We going with Stephon? Where are we going? 12, 11. 12, 11. Where we go? Number 12, Nico Collins. 80 catches last year, 16 plus yards per carry. Good season. Good season. But got to see him put together 2 consecutive seasons, and I'm going to give the nod to Stephon Diggs, just out of respect. Stephon Diggs, he's more durable, he's more available, and he has a bigger track record. Would it shock me for Nico to be better this year? Perhaps not. But I'll put Stephon Diggs at number 11. Let's go Stephon Diggs, number 11, Nico Collins, number 12. 2 guys in the top 12, though. 2 Texans. Another Houston Texan, number 10. One of 2 offensive linemen on this list. Laramie Tunsil. Laramie Tunsil. Elite pass blocking Laramie Tunsil. Elite businessman Laramie Tunsil. CJ Stroud calls him his brother. Bill O'Brien traded 2 damn number 1 picks and a number 2 for him. Not a great trade still. Still kind of a little bit bitter about that. But Laramie Tunsil, number 10, the 2-time highest paid offensive lineman in the NFL. Laramie Tunsil, no doubt. Already getting disagreements on the wide receivers. They should both be top 8. In the AFC South, hey, you may be right, my friend. You may be right. Number 9, maybe this is kind of a lifetime achievement award. I don't know. It just seems like he's still got a little bit left in the tank. DeForest Buckner, defensive tackle for the Indianapolis Colts. I think he had 8 sacks last year. Really good player. Kind of one of those guys that's terrifying when you look at him. One of those tall, big-ass, long offensive linemen, paws, that just seems to wreak havoc on the Texans. Good trade by the Colts a few years ago. This is maybe me showing a little bit too much respect. It could be kind of lifetime achievement-y, although I still think he's a really good player. So I'm going to put DeForest Buckner at number 9. Let's put him up there. I mean, just look at that dude. You telling me that dude don't scare you? He scares the hell out of me, man. Look at him. He's just like, man, I'm gonna FCJ up. Look at that weak ass interior line. Come get some, Kenyon Green. Scares the hell out of me, man. DeForest Buckner. So we'll put DeForest Buckner at number 9. Number 8. Now, let me preface this by saying I'm not going to – it would not shock me. Like, it would not shock me if this guy ended up being one of the worst contracts that we've seen in recent NFL history. This just kind of has kind of the look sometimes where these guys get paid like elite guys because of what they did on good teams and stuff. But I gotta show respect to a guy who I don't think it, like, if you're writing the story of the 2023 NFL season, you can't write the story without number 8 Tennessee Titans cornerback L'Jarius Sneed. Now, he could end up being a hell of a pickup. Who knows? I mean, it's probably a lot easier to play behind that Kansas City front. You have a lot more opportunity to make plays, but some of the plays that this guy made last year, I mean, you go back to the Baltimore game where he punches the ball out of Flowers' hands at the 1-yard line. Always seemed like whenever Kansas City was making a play that Sneed was doing his thing. But I gotta put L'Jarius Sneed on here at 8 just out of respect for what he did last season. Now, do I think that when he's on the field and Stingley's on the field that he's the better corner? Not really. But again, we haven't seen him in this new role in Tennessee where he's going to be having to figure some stuff out. Although there might be a good D-line up there in Tennessee. But I'm going to go ahead and give L'Jarius Sneed his appropriate amount of respect. And I'm going to go ahead and put him at number 8. What have I gotten the most wrong so far? What have I got the most wrong? 24 Tank, 23 Lloyd, 22 Zaire Franklin, 21 Nuke, 20 Joe Mixon, 19 FO, 18 Trevor Lawrence. He might not have belonged in the top 24, to be honest. 17 Michael Pittman, 16 Travon Walker, 15 Evan Ingram, 14 Derek Stingley, 13 TE, 12 Nico, 11 Stephon, 10 LT, 9 DeForest Buckner, 8 Sneed. What have I missed? What has been my biggest miss? We're getting into the top 7. We're getting into the top 7. The Diggs and Nico should be a little bit more up. Stroud will cook Sneed. Yeah, I mean, he's gonna have his work cut out for him. There's gonna be no breaks. Walker too high. T-Law too low. Okay, I could see that. I mean, look, Trevor Lawrence is a tough dude, man. We'll see where that is. Brandon's got jokes. Miss Kurt Heinisch. Let's go to number 7. Number 7. We got a couple Texans here. Number 7, Danielle Hunter. 16.5 sacks last year. I like Danielle Hunter, man. I think he's a really good player. Him and Will Anderson seem to have some chemistry, but I'm putting Will Anderson at 6. Y'all seen how big Will Anderson is now? He's 260. He's put on some weight. He's been working on the pass rush moves. We know he was elite against the run last year. Going to be a new season, Pro Bowl year. I put Danielle Hunter at 7. I put Will Anderson at 6. You can move those guys around. You know, we sit here and we talk a lot. And by we, I mean me. Talk a lot about these wide receivers. A lot about these wide receivers. This defense is going to swarm, though. You ain't never hate. Swarm. Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter on the edge. That's going to be a problem. I put Will ahead of Danielle. Just the way that he stops the run and everything. But Hunter, hell of a player. Hell of a duo. They're going to really, really work well off of each other, especially when you factor in D'Amico. And Will Anderson, I thought it was interesting when he was talking about the dynamic between him and Hunter, saying that he still goes to Hunter for advice. He talks to him about pass rush moves. They're already close, and that Danielle Hunter's a real willing teacher. So I put Will Anderson at 6, Danielle Hunter at 7. Best pass rush duo in the NFL. Yeah, I mean, what are we even talking? I mean, what's even up there with that? Myles Garrett and whoever. Obviously, I mean, Bosa's hurt all the time. Khalil Mack's coming off, though. Massive sack year. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, how many sacks between them? I would say 30 plus if they're healthy. I don't know. It'll be pretty sick. They're gonna be swarming though. Absolutely swarming. You ain't never hate. Swarm. All right, top 5 time, baby. Top 5 time. Some would say, well, this was a lifetime achievement award. Nah, man, this dude's a badass. We all know this. When he's healthy, when you've been in the Pro Bowl every single year that you've been in the league, you're top 5. Quinton Nelson. I know it's been kind of a really, really great start, and then he's kind of gotten on that quarterback treadmill. Quinton Nelson still is number 5. That is a hell of a player. Still a healthy amount of respect for what he does. Quinton Nelson, he is number 5 on the list, and it'll be interesting to see what Indianapolis looks like this year, especially with someone back who we might hear from in a second. Number 4. I get accused of liking this guy too much. Look, last year he had a season-ending injury in Week 12. I think he has one of the best hip-hop shout-outs going right now from Finesse 2 times in the Gucci flow. I think when he's healthy, he's a game wrecker. When they were the 1 seed, he was one of the best players in the league. Going to be motivated this year. Number 4, Jeffery Simmons. I think Jeffery Simmons is a dangerous, dangerous, dangerous dude. I am a terrified individual when Jeffery Simmons is lining up, specifically against the interior of this Texans O-line. So I put Jeffery Simmons at number 4. Kenny Moore didn't make my list. I'm sorry. I mean, he's a nice slot corner. He didn't make my list. I'm sorry. Didn't quite make it. No disrespect to him. Cuss and discuss amongst yourselves or in the comments if you think I made a mistake there. Number 3, I've told y'all I fear this guy. He wasn't healthy last year. He damn sure was healthy the last time we saw him on a football field. It was against the Houston Texans. He was the best player on the damn football field. He wasn't on the field, though, on Indianapolis's final play as they look to beat the Texans. Jonathan Taylor. He's happy. You see that smile? He didn't have that smile at the start of last year. They paid him. They paid him. He's healthy. There's not going to be any of that drama at camp where I guess he's meeting Jim Irsay in his bus or whatever. Jonathan Taylor, man, hell of a player. Running back devalued. Really good running backs in this division. Tony Pollard also didn't make the list. He rushed for 1,000 last year. Maybe he gets more healthy, and we could look back at this and say, how the hell was he not on there? But in a division of Travis E., Mixon, Taylor, Pollard, Jonathan Taylor, the best back in this league, and it'll be interesting to see how he looks whenever he's motivated, fully healthy, and Shane Steichen has him for the whole season, and not kind of having to sit there and like respect the business side of things. Jonathan Taylor, number 3, terrifying guy. Number 2, this guy had a good year last year. Do I think that he ends up number 2 on the list next year? Probably not. Quite frankly, if they would have drafted Aiden Hutchinson, this guy would have probably gotten money whipped, and maybe they would have gotten some compensation for him. But real recognized real. Josh Allen's turned into a really good player for the Jacksonville Jaguars. 17.5 sacks last year. Really good D-line. We don't know what's going to happen with Armstead. Armstead didn't make this list either. The guy can't stay healthy. I know the Texans tried to trade for him. I like him. That could end up being one of the better D-lines. And you factor in their linebackers, like Jacksonville's got a scary-ass front 7. Josh Allen is number 2 on the list, which means, and I think you all knew where this was going, number 1, CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud's got high expectations. It's nothing new for him. He's kind of used to it. He comes from Ohio State. He's got the target on his back. He's talking a lot of smack. CJ Stroud, number 1 in the AFC South. So top 10, Stroud, Allen, Taylor, Simmons, Nelson, Anderson, Hunter, Snead, Buckner, Tunsil. The final position count. I appreciate everyone for coming through. Appreciate the love. Although I'm being accused of showing too much love to the Jags. I mean, they got some talent. Number 2, we had 2 quarterbacks, CJ Stroud and Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence maybe shouldn't have made the list. We had 3 backs. We had Taylor, Travis E., and Mixon. We had 5 wide receivers, 3 on the Texans, and then we had Michael Pittman Jr. and Nuke Hopkins. We had 1 tight end, 4th in the league in catches last year, Evan Ingram. Shout out to him. We had 4 edge guys. We had Josh Allen, Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter on the edge, and then I guess you can say Walker up there as well. 2 O-linemen, Tunsil and Nelson. 2 DTs, Buckner and Jeffery Simmons. 2 cornerbacks, Snead and Stingley. And then the 3 linebackers, KO, or FO, Zaire Franklin, and Devin Lloyd. And Azeez Al-Shaair was actually top 5 in the league in tackles. Let me know where I screwed up. Appreciate everyone for coming through. Must be a slow news day. Tunsil's better than Nelson. I don't know about that. I don't know if I would go. No, John Weeks is crazy. That's my guy for sure. John Weeks, love that guy. That is my boy. Yeah, the division is very average at tight end. That is something that kind of sticks out during this exercise. Blue Boy 9, I keep telling people Jeffery Simmons is better than Chris Jones. Problem is Tennessee plays him at D. They move him around. I think I wouldn't say he's better than Chris Jones, but I think he's a hell of a player. BH, I'm wondering if we can get DeForest or Simmons to the draft. I mean, if you can get that kind of guy out of the draft, you're going to be in pretty damn good shape, especially with what you got on the edge. Drop the ball and not getting him. Talking about Eric Armstead. Well, they ended up getting Stephon Diggs instead. So It'll be really, really fun. Appreciate everyone for coming through. Be sure to subscribe, like, right along. 24 days away from camp. Top 24 players in the AFC South. I know these lists, they never tend to start arguments. Usually it's pretty unanimous. Everyone agrees with everything that's picked. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Always remember, when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together. It is so close to training camp. I can just feel it. Appreciate y'all for rolling through.
Then it's that we number one. You don't need to try your luck. Locker room, yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize, every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too.